afternoon, everybody. I am Rhonda Pope with the McMinnville Chamber. Today's business support series is all about natural gas and the decarbonization of it and why it is so important that we are paying attention to that and its impacts. We have Zach Seilige here on the call with Northwest Natural, and he's going to tell us all about that. So from here, I'll let you go ahead and take it away, Zach. You're up.
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate it. I do want to start by saying anyone that's on the call now and anyone in the future that's going to be watching this, as an individual that came from a chamber, I think it's so vital that our business leaders are taking part in these conversations or just listening in. It's vital to your community. It's vital to your business. And especially when it comes to things like energy, it's extremely important. There's a lot of hot button issues, and energy has definitely became one, over the past 20 years. And it definitely has an impact on businesses. So I just want to start by saying thank you to anyone, again, that's here now and anyone that's going to be watching this later. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's get this up here. All right. How does that look? Same thing as earlier, Rhonda. You're just seeing the slides?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, this is climate policy and decarbonization challenges and opportunities that are facing the gas utility industry, especially here in Oregon. Again, my name is Zachary Seilige. I'm the Community and Government Affairs Manager with Northwest Natural. All right. We'll go to the next slide here once I can figure that one out. There we are. Well, before we get started hearing about the future, I wanted to share a bit about our past. We're actually one of the oldest companies in the state of Oregon. Not many people realize we're 162 years old, and we're older than the state of Oregon itself by just a few weeks. At our founding, we started by delivering manufactured gas for street lamps in Portland and evolved as technology evolved over time. In the 1950s, our network expanded with a natural gas pipeline as new and more efficient appliances came to people's homes as a new way for us to provide our services. We started to make even more rapid progress on our environmental stewardship goals in the early 2000s. And we credit our regulator, the Oregon Public Utility Commission, and our customers for investing in a transformation of that pipeline to be the most modern and tightest in the country, getting rid of cast iron and bare steel pipes to be replaced with poly and coated steel. We are one of the first gas utilities to decouple our rates, which essentially what that means is that you pay the same amount for each therm you use that we pay for off the market. We do not increase our costs onto our customers. This is vital because it allows us to get on the same side of the table as our customers when it comes to energy efficiency. And we support our customers saving energy and squeezing down the use of our product, both for affordability and for carbon saving purposes. And we introduced our Smart Energy program. It's with meaningful carbon offsets. And it's something that many of our customers, about 84,000 have utilized so far. And today we're beginning our next evolution to renewables. And I'll get into that here shortly. So we're a local distribution company. The natural gas system is truly a workhorse for energy in the Northwest and the Pacific Northwest in and of itself. In the areas we serve, gas has a very significant role in heating homes and businesses. You'll hear this stat probably a few times today. I just think it's really important to hone in on. But we deliver more energy than any other utility in the state of Oregon. And we heat about 74% of residential square footage in the areas that we serve, which provides 90% of energy needs for our residential space and water heat customers on the coldest days of the year. We have one of the tightest systems in the country, thanks to our customers who've invested into modernizing our system by removing cast iron and bare steel. This is really important when it comes to addressing our emissions as it pertains to escape gas and methane from our system. So these upgrades have been a key part of decarbonizing our system over the years. Our residential and commercial customers' emissions account for about 6% of Oregon's total emissions. And I'll get into that a little bit more here. This chart actually breaks down each sector's climate footprint based off of GHG emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. In Northwest Natural, again, we provide essential energy to our region. For our customers who use our product for space and water heating, again, on the coldest day, that the energy we provide at such an efficient rate is imperative to our communities. So that we know that we are providing an essential service to our customers, and we seek to do so in the most efficient and effective way possible. Again, talking about kind of that 6% of emissions, our Northwest Natural Service and our customers utilize our service, who utilize our service have an impact of 6% of the current Oregon greenhouse gas emissions and 0.05% in Washington. We do actually provide service in Southwest Washington as well. This is an important number to know when we're talking about the work that we're doing when it comes to integrating renewables into our pipeline, because it's so essential to know kind of what our starting point is. And we're proud to operate our modern delivery system as it allows us to reduce emissions across the economy in ways such as solving waste solutions from around our state. So it's pretty incredible. The system that we have actually really will allow us in the future and even now to address different impacts on the state's greenhouse gas emission as it relates to waste. Northwest Natural truly is committed to addressing climate change by actively supporting sound energy policy informed by facts and transparent analysis in service to those that depend on us. We're committed to a carbon neutral pipeline by 2050, and there are no technical barriers that are kind of in the way of achieving this, because again, our system is all underground currently. Coal plants are closing. I think this is a super important thing to look at when it comes to decarbonizing the entire utility grid in and of itself in our state. Nearly half of Oregon's natural gas use is for power generation on the electric side. So electric companies, large electric companies will utilize natural gas. Actually, they use more natural gas than our customers do to generate electricity. This is a way to have instant energy, and electric utilities will need to further diversify their energy portfolio to provide baseload energy. And many electric utilities utilize, again, natural gas generation. So it's really important to kind of understand the grid in and of itself, especially on the electric side. We find it's so vital with that both the electric and gas systems are working together. That's the best way to achieve resiliency, reliability, and in addressing our carbon footprint as a state. Reliability must be a part of the solution designed for winter. With 3 times the peak capacity of the electric grid and seasonal storage, our gas system delivers energy even when power is out with certain equipment. Many of you may remember February of 2021. I certainly do myself. When the Willamette Valley experienced significant snowfall and many areas went without electricity for days and in some places even weeks. I don't know about McMinnville specifically, but I know in Salem there was a lot of folks that were without electricity for up to almost 14 days, almost 2 weeks. And natural gas is an essential energy source for Oregonians on the coldest days. I've heard stories upon stories from folks that their electricity was down and they were still able to cook and shower and have those essential needs because of the equipment they had was ran off of natural gas. And I think in terms of the reliability and safety aspect, I think it's such an essential component. Here, this is just trying to talk about too. You'll hear a lot about electrification, both here in the state of Oregon, the West Coast, and the country as a whole. And one of the ways in which we talk about space heating, natural gas space heating is vastly more efficient. And the big argument is lowering the carbon footprint of the utility grid. But it's really important to understand that this graph here is demonstrating how electrification will amount to less than 1% difference in overall greenhouse gas emissions when we're looking at just heat pumps and space heating specifically. So this is something that we've seen come up in the legislature multiple times here in the state of Oregon, and understanding these facts and figures, I think, is really important to know. So what does it take? What does it take to electrify residential gas use? You'll see here on December 22nd, 2022, so just this last year, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Northwest Natural delivered approximately 23 million cubic feet of gas to our residential customers. which is a significant number. And we look at that date specifically because it was one of the coldest dates, and we talk about peak demand. This is really what that's addressing. And we estimated that if all of those customers' gas appliances were replaced with electric appliances, it would require more than 3.4 gigawatts of electric capacity to provide the same amount of energy. That is, I can't put that into to give you an example of how big that is, but that is massively significant, that wattage right there. And using renewable electricity to serve that gas use with 75% wind, 20% solar, and 5% battery storage would cost you local electric system approximately $20 billion, according to the National Renewable Energy Lab and Berkeley National Lab's capital cost estimates. So it's really, again, it's really important we talk about affordability. Electrifying our load is not something that will be done overnight, and it's not something that can be done at a cheap rate. I see that there's a hand raised, Rhonda.
Yes, Zach, we have a question in the chat.
Oh, I apologize. I was not even looking at those.
Oh, I'm here to help. Dawn has asked a question. How does the 6% fit in when gas is used for electricity? I noticed electricity was a large greenhouse emissions.
Yeah, it's a great question, Dawn. I appreciate that. So that I'll go back to that graph really quick to look at it. So that is the electric industry. That is their generation, everything in and of itself specifically. So you'll see that all natural gas, I think this all natural gas aspect right there. So it's 13%. That aspect, I cannot speak to that specifically. I can get back to you on that specific question, Don. I think what you're trying to get at is that 13% a part of the 29% that the electric grid uses, because again, they do utilize natural gas. I think that's what you're asking. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is, because it could be misleading if you're telling us 6%, but you're sending a bunch to the electric companies. How much of that 29% is generated from
natural gas?
Yeah. So is it truly just 6% of anything you use for? Yeah. So that's where I was getting at.
That's a great question, and that question came up because we were trying to get some clarification on that initially too. Does the 13% of all natural gas use, how is that equated into the 29% of electricity? That's a great question. I'll get your information. My email is at the end of this slide. I'd be happy to follow up with you on that as well. And one of the important things to know too about the use of natural gas by for electric generation is when they utilize one molecule of carbon when they're creating electricity, they're using that molecule at about a 40 to 50% efficiency rate, which is incredibly low. But when you turn on your gas stove at home, you're using each molecule that you burn at about a 96% rate. So I think a big part of that is the efficiency aspect is when there's a source use, it's much more efficient. So again, when you turn on your gas water heater, your gas heat pump, your gas stove, you're using each molecule at a highly more efficient rate. That's something I did miss when you went through the slide. So I'm actually glad you asked that question. Does that help, Don? I will take that as a resounding yes. So here's going to be a little bit longer slide. I really want to hit on this. I think this is essential. It's kind of the decarbonization of our network specifically, and our vision 2050 is our vision. Our vision is to champion new technologies and innovative policies to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 for the energy services we provide to the roughly 2.5 million Northwest residents that we serve every day. The low carbon pathway we launched in 2016 began our planning for renewable energy in our pipeline. And in 2019, we commissioned Energy and Environment Economics to conduct a decarbonization study designed to achieve the Paris Climate Agreement emission reduction targets by 2050. With the results showing how it can be done using Northwest Natural System, this Destination Zero report is the next evolution for us. It truly is. And it provides an in-depth scenario analysis incorporating advancements that leverage our system for more holistic and economic-wide approaches to greenhouse gas reductions. And again, what that really is saying is kind of what I was talking about earlier. When we look at renewable resources, renewable natural gas, for example, our system can allow reduction in other sectors of our economy to diminish with us utilizing it. And I'll get into that again a little bit more in a few slides here. Northwest Natural is a 162-year-old company that has evolved many, many times since 1859 to meet the essential energy needs of our region. And we're committed to implementing sound climate solutions that work for our environment and most importantly for our customers. One of the big things is we want to do this as a company, but we're listening to our customers, and this is truly something that our customers want and our communities want. And the renewable supply truly is growing, and the necessary technology exists, and our modern storage and delivery system is ready for it. And some of the key principles, some of the key decarbonization principles is helping customers use less, is the fastest and cheapest way to reduce emissions. And we're dedicated to continuing to help customers conserve energy, save money, reduce emissions through more efficient building and equipment. So one of the things, for example, that we do on that front, we actually have funds that where we provide money for low income housing to upgrade their home efficiency upgrades. A lot of times it's windows. A lot of people don't realize the impact that having high, weatherized windows has on the amount of how efficient the energy that you use at home is. And that's something that we're doing, to help lower emissions and really conserve energy for our customers. And again, we're able to do that because of the way in which our system is decoupled. Again, we don't upcharge the amount of money. We don't upcharge for the gas that our customers use. We're not incentivized for our customers to necessarily use more gas because we're not going to make more money off of it. So I think it's just vital. I really think it's vital to understand that. Again, all forms of renewable energy, and this is another principle here, all forms of renewable energy are needed in a balanced low carbon future, and we're committed to displacing conventional natural gas over time with renewable natural gas and gases produced from organic waste and streams and clean hydrogen. Another principle is that communities served by the gas system have greater energy reliability, and we need a dual energy system, gas and electric, to handle peak energy loads and to prepare for the future with potentially more extreme weather events to come in the future. Homes and businesses with gas service can have energy even when the power is out and providing resiliency for our communities. Is there another question that I missed? There is. Is Northwest Natural shifting from natural gas to hydrogen source? Will natural gas be a part of the country's energy solution? There in a couple of slides, I'll break down kind of what Northwest Natural is doing as it pertains to hydrogen. We see natural gas being a part of the country's energy solution in the future. But we still think it's vital, not just for us, but for other gas utilities as well. When their customers see it, seek that it's important. That shifting their energy resources as well. All right, I hope that answered your question. I will get to more hydrogen stuff here in a minute. Again, I apologize. This is a little bit longer slide, but it's so vital. We're talking about our low carbon pathway, and I really want to hone in on this part. Another key principle is leveraging our existing modern system in new ways. It's a priority for us, and we're seeking paths to ensure a renewable energy future without undermining long-term affordability and dependability. So it's really looking at how we can integrate these renewables with the lowest impact on cost and reliability to our customers is essential. And again, I'll talk a little bit about that too when we're talking about hydrogen, how we're doing that currently. And families and businesses should have a choice of energy options to meet their needs. Energy system diversification and competition provides the best opportunity for accelerated innovation, both in our industry and the electric industry as well. And we must drive towards toward carbon neutrality in a way that leaves no one behind. And we're committed to pursuing policies and approaches that provide fair and equitable support for the most vulnerable customers of ours. And one thing that occurred, this was 2 years ago, it was actually pretty incredible. So the Oregon Public Utility Commission, our regulator, did not allow neither Northwest Natural or any gas utility or any electric utility that they regulate to be able to charge less for energy based off of income of our customers. That actually changed about 2 years ago. So, we talk about, we want to implement these with the lowest impact on vulnerable communities. Anybody that meets certain income qualifications can get discounted rates. We've been going around, we have folks in our company going around and sharing that information with our customers. And it's pretty incredible to see. Okay, so we're off that one now. Let's talk a little bit about renewable natural gas, and talk about how renewable natural gas provides significant emissions reduction benefits. And RNG, again, I will refer to as RNG, which is renewable natural gas, is produced from existing methane emitted from waste streams that would otherwise go into the atmosphere. And RNG can be delivered through existing pipelines and appliances to displace conventional natural gas without adding new greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere. So one of the ways to look at it, we have like dairy RNG, for example. There's technology that is able to capture the methane that would eventually go into the atmosphere. We can capture that energy and then put that energy into our system. So not only are we taking away methane from the air, but you're actually utilizing it as an energy source. And you see a lot of this. The market is still relatively young as it pertains to residential and commercial use. It's a lot bigger in the transportation use, but innovation and technology is advancing rapidly. And you'll definitely see more of that to come over the next over many, many years. The potential supply for RNG is vast. That's one of the kind of the misnomers, is that people think that there's not enough RNG to go around and that it'll dissipate. But as long as there's waste from humans, animals, and the natural environment, we can capture RNG and use it as a powerful climate solution. So I think if you ever hear somebody say that, I think it's essential to realize, as long as humans are providing waste or animals or the environment, RNG is going to be available. And Northwest Natural is the first local gas distribution utility actually in the United States to invest in and own an RNG facility on behalf of its sales customers. And we believe, we truly do believe in its future, so much that we launched a non-regulated business, Northwest Natural Renewables, and has already executed agreements to commit $50 million towards the development of 2 production facilities that are designed to convert landfill waste gases to RNG and to connect gas production to existing regional pipeline networks. So it's not something we talk about. It's something that we've actually have invested significant amount of dollars in. All right, Patty, here's a little bit of talk about hydrogen here. So here you see, one of the ways that we can produce clean hydrogen gas. And the infographic actually demonstrates how excessive renewable energy can be used to make electricity, power an electrolyzer, and split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, I am not a chemist, so if anybody has a question about the science behind this, I will have to refer you to one of my colleagues. But we look at one of the things that is often talked about in battery storage, and we're looking at renewables on the electric side. There's too much energy that is created that is not being used, so it has to be burned off. This is one way to utilize that excess energy on the electric side, is by creating clean hydrogen. And clean renewable hydrogen can be stored and delivered via pipeline infrastructure to serve many different sectors and end uses. One of the really important things to look at here when we look at cleaning up our system or decarbonizing our system, is there's so many of our customers on the industrial side that need natural gas as a way to as a use for heating that electricity just cannot provide. Hydrogen is one of the solutions to still maintain that needed heat resource and by lowering their personal carbon footprint as well. These include heating for homes and businesses and high heat industrial processes and transportation. One of the big things you've probably heard about, if you've heard about hydrogen, is specifically in the transportation market. But there's actually a long history of around the world of hydrogen natural gas blends. Many cities in Europe utilize hydrogen, and even the state of Hawaii has utilized hydrogen as a heating source for over 50 years. So it's important to recognize that this is something that has been happening, and we're really looking at implementing this into our system as well. And we talk about, we test things and we really model things out to ensure that our customers are going to be safe and everything's going to be reliable. We've been utilizing 5 to up to 15% hydrogen blend in our training center in Sherwood, and it's pretty incredible. When it's used, you turn on your stove. There's a gas stove. I've been on many tours there, and they demonstrate this. You cannot tell a single difference. It's the same exact kind of, essentially molecule that's being burned at the end, and you're still getting the same high efficiency use. Today we're talking about, education of our, to our partners in the community and to our customers. And it's just vital that we continue to go out and speak to our customers and to our partners, talking about the different things we're doing in terms of decarbonization, answering questions, things about, gas cooking, is it safe? Things like that. We want to continue to, to be here, speak for our customers, and ensure that their questions are answered, and that, just to know that we will always be here and be fighting for our customers and their need and desire to have energy choice. One of the big things you'll see what happened down in Eugene. They were the first city in the state of Oregon to implement a gas ban on new or a natural gas ban on new residential buildings, and our customers spoke up, and we collected tons of signatures, and we almost doubled the amount of signatures needed. Our partners down there did that and ensured that their voice was heard. So just last Monday, not this Monday, but the previous Monday, the city of Eugene actually removed that policy, and we'll see what there is to come. So we continue to look to partner with our communities. McMinnville is one. I've spoken with the city manager and the mayor personally, talking about, we want to be a partner, we want to be engaged, and we want to be a part of the solution when it comes to decarbonization of each city. So we have plenty of tools available to that, both for our customers and cities that they can look at. And we're just, we want to be a part of this. Our company, we grew up here. It is our motto. We have been around longer than the state itself, and we will be here for many more years to come, and we're not going anywhere. And we want to be a part of the solution. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. If there's something I missed or something that may have been confusing, I'm happy to help. My information is here. That is my email. That is my personal cell phone number. And Troy Klein is our residential marketing consultant. If you have any questions as it pertains to marketing, please contact him. So happy to take any questions if there are any. And I will stop sharing my screen. And I will put my email and my cell phone number in the chat. Wow. There we go.
So I just had a question about where's most of the natural gas coming from? Is it being sent down from Canada, or?
Yeah, we get a lot of, that's a great question, Don. A lot of our gas comes from Canada and from the Rockies. They're actually two of the most highly regulated gas exploration kind of regions in North America. So when we talk about even the gas that we purchase off the pipeline, you can know that it's, even the exploration of it and the extraction of it is heavily regulated, and to ensure the lowest environmental impact possible.
there's been some talk about, running out at some point. Do we have any idea at this point what our timeline is for use of natural gas in this part of the country? I mean, is it going to be 50 years or?
I was just at a work conference, last month, and they were talking about the market and the amount of natural gas that exists. This is something that's, again, has also been talked about for a long time, that these resources are gonna dwindle, but the innovation that has been created, both on the extraction and exploration side of natural gas, that innovation over the last 20 years has literally rivaled NASA's innovation. It is incredible. So some of the technology that exists now, they can identify a large pocket of natural gas 25,000 feet below the surface and be accurate up to the size of a basketball court. So I think that as innovation expands, we're gonna continue to find that there is more and more natural gas, and that's another part of the reason it's so important to be looking at the different renewable resources that exist. If that time does come. I hope that answers your question, Don. Any other questions?
Patty has a question.
Hi, Zach.
Patty?
It's just pretty much a follow up on what Don was bringing up about the supply. I guess long term is Northwest Natural looking at hydrogen as a path to the future for the company, or do you always see a place for natural gas in the energy conversation for our country, in the supply? Renewables, hydrogen, of course, is part of that. And do you always see at least a place for natural gas and other fossil fuels?
Yeah, that's okay. I think I understand your question a little bit better, Patty. Thank you for clarifying that. I can't speak for what other utilities are going to do around the country. I know for us, if tomorrow, there was a way to utilize 100% hydrogen, maybe that's something that this company would, our company would look at. For the time being, we know and trust what natural gas can provide to our customers. And I personally cannot speak to, what we're going to be thinking about and looking at in, the next 50 years. So again, we've adapted as a company. We used to, back in the 1800s, we were delivering natural gas. They were like little pieces of coal, essentially. That's what they look like to customers. And as the economy changed and technology changed, we changed with it. So the one thing I do know is this company is nimble and has always done what's best for our customers and best and always followed what technology does. So if technology moves that way, I could tell you that history has shown that's what our company has done.
Thanks, Zach. That was very helpful.
Thank you, Patty. Any other questions? You can't take it too easy on me on my first time, guys.
Any other good questions for Zach? I think those were great questions. Thank you, Don and Patty.
They were really good questions.
Yeah, I thought so too. Great. Okay, well, if we have no other questions, I would like to take the moment to thank Zach for his time again today. We did record this, so we will have this up on our website for other viewers later, come tomorrow. So feel free to share it with your friends. And if you have any questions for Zach, he did put his information in the chat, and I would recommend that you write that down and use him as a resource. Okay. Thank you again, Zach. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Rhonda, for the opportunity.
Of course.
And thank you everyone who was on here. Really, truly do appreciate that.
Have a great day, everybody.